The rain fell slow and heavy on the edge of the small Midwestern town, soaking cracked pavement and broken streetlights. Most places were already dark, doors locked, curtains drawn. This was the kind of town that looked away when trouble knocked. A woman stood barefoot at the edge of a gas station parking lot, trembling. Her name was Rachel Moore. She clutched her torn jacket around her chest, knuckles white, eyes hollow with fear. Blood streaked down her wrist, mixing with rainwater. She had been begging for help for hours. Every car that passed slowed just enough to see her face, then sped away. Inside the gas station, the clerk pretended not to notice. He kept wiping the same spot on the counter, eyes fixed downward. He had already called the local police once. They never came, but Rachel's phone buzzed in her hand. One last number left. She hesitated, breath shaking. The name on the screen wasn't family. It wasn't police.it, it was a number scribbled on a napkin weeks ago. She pressed call. The line clicked, a deep voice answered, calm and steady. Yeah. Her voice broke instantly. They're going to kill me. Silence followed. Not confusion, not doubt, just listening. They said no one would help, Rachel whispered. They said this town belongs to them. Another pause. Then the voice spoke again, colder now. Where are you? Rachel collapsed to her knees as she gave the location. The call ended 15 miles away. Inside a worn steel garage, engines sat quiet under flickering lights. Leather vests hung on hooks. Patches told stories of war zones, lost brothers, and roads that never ended. Iron Haven Motorcycle Club wasn't welcome in this town. They didn't care. The road captain, Jack Mercer, stood slowly, phone still in his hand. His gray beard twitched as his jaw tightened. Around him, men noticed the shift. Years of Brotherhood had trained them to read it. Something bad had happened. Jack didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to mount up. Chair scraped back. Hands reached for helmets. Leather snapped shut. No questions were asked, because when someone begged like that, it meant the line had already been crossed. That Rachel's nightmare had started 2 months earlier. She worked nights cleaning offices downtown. Quiet job. Paid cash. No trouble. Until the building changed owners. The new landlord was Evan Crowley, a local businessman with a polished smile and dirty power. He owned half the warehouses near the river and paid off the rest with favors. Crowley noticed Rachel the first week. He started with comments, then accidental touches, then threats. When she refused him, things turned ugly. Her hours were cut. Her pay withheld. One night, 2 men followed her home. They didn't touch her, but they made sure she understood. This town ain't safe for stubborn women, one of them said. Rachel went to the police. Officer Tom Blake took the report. He smiled. He promised to look into it. 2 days later, Crowley himself showed up at her apartment. You made a mistake, he said calmly, leaning against her doorframe. Cops don't help people like you. That night, her door was kicked in. Sheer envy by the time she reached the gas station. Crowley's men were already searching the streets, and the police radios stayed quiet. The first motorcycle roared to life, then another, then another. Engines echoed like distant thunder, cutting through the rain-soaked night. Headlights pierced the dark as Iron Haven MC rolled out, a moving wall of steel and resolve. They didn't speed. They didn't need to. Every mile brought them closer to a line that should never have been crossed. Back at the gas station, Rachel tried to stay hidden behind a dumpster. She heard footsteps nearby, men laughing. She can't run forever, one voice said. Another replied, Boss want her alive. For now. Rachel pressed her face into her hands, tears mixing with rain. She whispered a prayer she didn't believe anyone would answer. Then she heard it. Low, heavy, unmistakable. Motorcycles. The sound grew louder. Deeper. Closer. The men froze. What the hell is that? One muttered from the road. Headlights appeared. 1, 2, 5, 10. Rolling in formation like a black tide. Leather vests. Steel frames. Patches gleaming under streetlights. The laughter died instantly. Rachel looked up, heart pounding. They had shown up. The motorcycles rolled into the gas station lot and fanned out, engines rumbling like restrained beasts. Iron Haven MC moved with discipline, not chaos. Each man took a position, each angle covered. Jack Mercer stepped off his bike slowly. Rain soaked his leather vest. The Iron Haven patch darkened but proud. His eyes locked on Rachel first, then on the men near her point, three of them. Crowley's runners. Street toughs with borrowed confidence. Jack spoke calmly. Step away from the woman. One of the men laughed nervously. This ain't your business, old man. Jack didn't move. She called for help. That makes it mine. Another biker stepped forward. Luis St. Ramirez, a former Marine with eyes that had seen worse than this. You got 5 seconds, he said quietly. The men hesitated. One reached for his waistband. Before anything escalated, red and blue lights flashed at the edge of the lot that a police cruiser pulled in. Officer Tom Blake stepped out, rain dripping from his cap. He looked annoyed. What's going on here? He asked. Jack turned slowly. Evening, officer. Blake's eyes flicked to the bikes. His jaw tightened. You bikers don't belong here. Rachel stood shakily, stepping forward. He's with them, she cried. He helped Crowley. Blake shot her a warning look. Ma'am, you're hysterical. Jack smiled, but there was no warmth in it. She doesn't look hysterical. She looks hunted. Blake stepped closer to Jack. You interfering with an investigation? Jack leaned in just enough. You ever investigate why people keep disappearing around here? The air thickened. More Iron Haven members dismounted. Silent. Watching. Blake reached for his radio. Saint spoke up. Careful. You don't want to make this worse. Blake sneered. You threatening a cop? No, Saint replied. Warning you. Before Blake could respond, headlights flooded the lot from the opposite side. A black SUV pulled in. Evan Crowley stepped out, perfectly dry under an umbrella. Jack Mercer, Crowley said smoothly. Didn't expect to see you here. Jack didn't flinch. You shouldn't be anywhere near that woman. Crowley chuckled. She works for me. Misunderstanding. Rachel screamed. He tried to. Blake cut her off. That's enough. Jack's voice dropped to ice. You silence her again, and this ends badly. Crowley raised a hand. Relax. We're all civilized. Jack looked around the empty lot. Civilized people don't hunt women in the rain. Crowley's smile faded slightly. You think you're heroes? Jack answered without hesitation. No, just men who don't look away. Crowley nodded to Blake. Handle this. Blake stepped forward, drawing his baton. You need to leave. Now. That was when the sound came from behind the gas station. A child's cough. Rachel froze. My brother, she whispered. They have my brother. Crowley's eyes hardened. Enough. 2 more SUVs pulled in behind him. Jack raised his hand slowly. Iron Haven moved instantly, forming a shield around Rachel. Jack locked eyes with Crowley. You brought kids into this? Crowley shrugged. Leverage. The tension snapped. A runner lunged. Iron Haven reacted like one body. The man was disarmed and pinned to the ground without a punch thrown. Blake drew his weapon. Saint stepped in front of Jack. Don't. Sirens echoed in the distance. But they weren't police. They were motorcycles. Another group, Steel Covenant MC. Crowley's face went pale. Jack smirked slightly. Looks like help showed up. Steel Covenant rolled in, parking alongside Iron Haven. 2 rival clubs. Same code. Their president, Hank Doyle, dismounted. Heard there was trouble. Jack nodded. Corruption. Kid involved. Hank's jaw clenched. Then it's everybody's business. Crowley backed up a step. You don't know who you're messing with. Jack stepped forward, rain dripping off his beard. Oh, we know. Blake lowered his gun slowly. The balance of power had shifted. Crowley tried to regain control, lifting his chin. You touch me, and this town burns. Jack met his stare. This town's already burning. You just never felt the heat. The twist came quietly. From the shadows behind the gas station, a small figure stepped out. A boy, 12 years old, shivering. Rachel gasped. The boy ran into her arms, sobbing. They said you wouldn't come back. Crowley turned sharply. Who let him loose? Officer Blake swallowed hard. Jack watched Blake closely. Saint stepped forward, holding up a small body cam. Found this in your cruiser, officer. Still recording. Blake's face drained of color. The footage had already uploaded. Crowley's threats. Blake's silence. Everything. Sirens grew louder, this time real police. State police. Crowley bolted toward his SUV. Steel Covenant blocked the path. No punches. No chaos, just nowhere to go. State troopers flooded the lot minutes later. Guns drawn. Command shouted. Jack raised his hands calmly. Saint handed over the body cam. "This belongs to you now," he said. Crowley screamed as he was cuffed, rage spilling out. "You think this changes anything?" Jack leaned close one last time. "It changes everything." Officer Blake was arrested on the spot. The runners were taken down. Rachel wrapped her arms around Eli, crying silently. Jack knelt in front of them. "You're safe now." Rachel looked up at him, tears streaking her face. "Why did you come?" Jack stood slowly. "Because someone asked." Dawn broke hours later. Iron Haven and Steel Covenant rode out quietly, engines echoing into the distance in O speeches. No thanks expected. Weeks later, Crowley was charged. Blake lost his badge. Warehouses were seized. The town breathed a sigh.